Hey everyone! Welcome to another wonderful episode of Wives Wind Down. That's right. Welcome. I am your girl, Shonda White. It is Wednesday and it's time for Wives Wind Down. It's a week before Christmas. Yay! Hey Lakia. Hey Corine. I can't wait to add you in a second. Yes, she's in here ready, honey. Yes. Hey, Steph Shy Baby and Renita. Hey, sis. Welcome to Wives Wind Down. I'm your wonderful host, Shonda White, and I'm so excited that you're joining me tonight. I try to spruce it up a little bling for the Christmas season. But yes, welcome to everyone. If this is your first time to Wives Wind Down, welcome. If you are a repeat and my regulars, y'all know who y'all are. Hey, Amia. Hey, Michi. Welcome to Wives Wind Down. I'm so excited that you're here. I created this atmosphere and this outlet in the midst of the pandemic earlier this year. I can't even believe it's been like 6 months. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, somebody said they're here and they missed last week. Listen, we missed you too. And if you missed last week, it's truly a heart-wrenching episode. So make sure you check that out and other episodes on my IGTV. But shout out, we missed you too. But yes, I started this outlet just to provide a place where we could come together as women, whether you're single or married, and just have a safe space where we could talk about real life things, especially when it comes to being married. Because I remember my first year of marriage, I went into it and I was very excited. But once I got married and things started happening, I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? We're having these little petty arguments. Is this normal? Are we having disagreements or growing pains? Hey, Tammy. Hey, Ebony. I see y'all. Hey, Quiet Storm. And so I was like, is this normal? Is my marriage a mess? And I realized it was absolutely normal. Every marriage goes through highs and lows and seasons and different things. And it wasn't until I started talking to other women and other fellow wives where I was like, oh, okay, I'm not as crazy as I thought I was. This is normal. This is a normal part of marriage. It takes work and you got to invest into it. And so just knowing that I wasn't alone and knowing that there were others, like us, just helped me so much. And so I wanted to create that space where we could come here and keep it real and pull back the curtain behind marriage and really find out what does it take not only to get married, but to stay married. And especially when you're single, you're you hear all this, this is how you get a man, this is how you get him. And this is how, it's well, how do we stay married? How does he keep me? How do I keep him? How do we keep each other happy and satisfied? So I wanted to create that space. We keep it real here. We have it fun. And I just love talking to all of the ladies. And so I'm so thankful to all of you all for coming through. And just quick reminder that we will not have Wives Wind Down next week because it is Christmas. I want you all to spend time with your families and stuff. But we will be back for one more episode in 2020 because 2021 is coming real fast and we already have a great lineup. But 2020, we do have one more episode after tonight. So make sure you tune in and you can always catch up on my IGTV. So without further ado, let me welcome our wonderful guest tonight. I'm so excited. Yeah. Make sure y'all have y'all's glasses because don't forget, we got a toast later on. So if you're new to Wives Wind Down, make sure you have your glass, whether it's water, wine, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Hey, sis.
Hey. Can you see me as my forehead cut off?
I can see you look gorgeous and you look so relaxed in your hammock and everything. So it looks perfect. Yes, the lighting's great. And look at your hubby. He's already in there showing you some love. Yes, hubby. Shout out to Lucas.
Hey, babe.
I love this. Ain't nothing like having a supportive man.
Yes. Love it.
So before we get into it, I want to introduce the folks to you or however, you know what I mean. But anyway, I want the people to know who you are. So,
hey, y'all.
Yes. So Corine is a wife of 11 years. Along with her husband, they are passionate about helping couples create a cohesive vision for forever together through their book, The Marriage Plan, which we're going to talk about a little later. I can't wait. Okay. She's a writer who uses creativity and storytelling to inspire and empower others. So everyone, clap it up in the chat and welcome Corine.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited. I haven't met you in person, but I have been following you on Instagram for a while, and I just love your energy. So, yes, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I am so happy that you said yes and that you're here. I'm so appreciative. Like you said, we haven't met each other ever in person, but we clearly connected through social media and everything, and obviously through She Wins Society. Shout out to Andromeda and She Wins. But
Hey,
like,
She Wins sisters.
yes, thank goodness for that, you know, organization as well as just social media, because that enabled us to connect. So I'm so glad that you're here.
Yes.
And I must say, I have to say this before I forget, but like, I love that your name is Corine Marie, because my middle name used to be Marie as well. And then I got married and I got rid of it and changed to Shonda. So I know. So, little fun fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
But another fun fact, I was born without a middle name. My mom didn't give me a middle name at birth, but I was adopted. And when you get adopted, you get a choice to change your name. And I wanted a middle name, so I picked Marie. So fun fact, you got rid of your name, I added mine.
Hold on one second. We're going to have to get into I'm like, pivot. Yes, we're going to have to get into that, because that sounds like a whole testimony in itself. So you were adopted?
Yes, I was. I was adopted at age 12. I was in the foster care system pretty much since I was like 3 or 4. I can't really remember, up until age 12, and I got adopted. Wow. Yeah, but me and my birth mom, we reconnected when I was like 18, and we have a relationship now. But yeah, that was the whole story. Like, if I can go back and trace it to like a Genesis moment, I think, you know, like we had the whole like crack epidemic, you know, like I'm pretty sure my mom was a result of that. So she went through her own things, and I, you know, totally forgive her, you know, and we have connected, and we have, you know, hashed out our things. Like, she couldn't raise me and my siblings, and I forgive her for that, you know, like that was her story, her life. It passed down to me, and I had to deal with the results of some things. But here I am, like you said, a testimony. We're out here breaking generational curses. Like, it ends with me, honey.
Listen, we out here, I'm writing it out. We out here breaking generational curses. Like, oh my goodness. And my earrings tonight say love, because obviously this is a season of love. But what you just said just speaks to that, and just like connects with the whole season of love and joy and the gift of God and everything and Jesus and stuff, because forgiveness is such a huge thing. And there may be somebody tuning in tonight or on the replay, and that's like dealing with that, especially because now is the season where we get with our families and stuff, and they might be dealing with forgiveness in their hearts for something that a family member did. And it's like, here you are, you know, you didn't even know your birth mother, or your birth mother, you know, she couldn't raise you at that moment. You were adopted, and you have found it within yourself. And obviously you've done the self-work to say, I forgive her, and that you're developing this relationship. So hats off to you. Like, God bless you, sis, because that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I love her. And I'm proud of the self-work that she has done too as a woman. So, hey, shout out to my mama, my birth mama.
Girl, you trying to take us out? We barely 5 minutes in. Oh,
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
No, don't you apologize. Like, let the Lord use you, as they like to say in the church. Let him use you.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. Oh my gosh. Somebody said yes, the generational curses. Yes. So going back, and I'm going to touch on that a little more, especially when it comes to marriage and thinking about like abandonment issues and stuff. But how are you doing right now, especially during quarantine and everything? How's everything been going? How are you all planning for the holidays?
Everything is going wonderful. Like, the quarantine, like, really just gave me an opportunity to slow down and reflect on everything that I was doing, everything that was happening in my life, and just give me a second chance to kind of like reevaluate everything and kind of start over, which was something that I really needed. You know, like, we can tend to get so busy doing absolutely nothing or things that's not really important. And I was caught up in that whirlwind, honey, you know, like doing the most, you know, like I'm the kind of person that tends to like not do well just sitting down and relaxing. So I can find something to do, you know, like it's always a whole house to clean. It's always something to do. So, but you know, this quarantine like kind of just was like, Corine, sit down, think about some things, reevaluate. And that has like been life changing for me. Like, I feel like I'm a whole different person in 2020. My mental clarity is just so much better. My spiritual is like 1,000 times better. Like, it's honestly, it's been great. You know, like, I know like there's been some things going on, you know, obviously we lost loved ones and things like that. But as far as like where I am, you know, like mentally and spiritually, like I am in a really great place.
And you smile a bit. Your smile is just so beautiful. I'm like, I can see it through your beautiful teeth. Like, yes.
Thank you. Hey, you gotta let this glow come from the inside out, honey.
Yes. Now, Christmas is next week, so I would like to know, what's your favorite Christmas song or your favorite Christmas movie?
Movie or song? Whew. I don't know. Like, I it's so hard because, you know, like it's just like the season of like joy, I guess. So like everything, you know, you listen to that Mariah Carey, that Destiny's Child, you know, the classics.
Yep.
Neo had an album come out last year, and I was like listening to Neo's. So I don't know. Sometimes when people ask me my favorite, it's like hard to pick a favorite. It's like so much good stuff out here.
And that's fine. That is totally fine. I was reading through some of your posts, and on one of your anniversary posts, you said, I still remember closing my eyes to pray over our meal and opening them, I can't speak tonight, to a ring and your proposal. So how did you two meet? And did you cry when you like opened your eyes and saw he was proposing?
Okay, so I'll start with how we met. We worked together. I had just graduated from college, and I started working at an early childhood center, and he worked there also. But I was on my lunch break, and I was sitting in my car. I was eating some Wendy's, and he came up to my car and was like, hey, can I buy you something? Look, I was already eating. He was like, hey, I'm about to go over across the street, because Wendy's was across the street. That's where everybody ate at that worked there, pretty much. He was like, hey, I'm about to go over to Wendy's and get some food. Would you like some? Or would your man be mad if I got you something? I was like, oh, he trying to spit game at me. And I was like, I'll take a Frosty. And that's pretty much how we met. and we have been talking ever since.
He said, don't give the game away. Listen, the game gotta, they're trying to school these people out here, okay?
Right. He came through with the Wendy's.
Yes. And did you cry like when he proposed, like when you actually came to him and was like, oh, he's proposing? Were you crying, or were you just like in shock?
On the proposal. I don't think I cried. We talked about getting married, like we just talked about it a lot and getting engaged. So it was like kind of one of those things like, okay, it's coming soon, you know? So when I opened my eyes, I was like, oh, my ring is here. And I was excited. Get to put my ring on. Let's do this.
Yes. Somebody said never knew the power of a Wendy's Frosty. Go ahead, y'all. Listen, God can do anything through anything.
Yes, he can.
So you all have been married 11 years now, but even now, I love that you can say things like, loving someone has never been this enjoyable. What would you say you enjoy most about being married?
I love my husband. Like, he is a good man, and he makes marriage enjoyable, because anybody who's ever met my husband, he's just like really silly. He keeps me laughing and lighthearted, and we're just like really good friends, like just best of friends. We spend a lot of time together intentionally. We go out on dates every week and just make sure that we have that time together to spend together, to be friends. So I think that's the most enjoyable part of marriage, is just making sure that we spend the time together. We married each other. We're doing this thing, you know, until life makes us one. So we might as well have a good old time doing it, you know? Yeah. So that's what I love the most, just going out, dating, having fun with my man, laughing, creating traditions, raising kids together, you know, building a family, building a future, you know. Even after 11 years, we're still like always looking towards the future. We're like, what is the future going to be like? What are we going to do next? You know, how is it going to be in like 10 years or so? Like, what's the next 11 years of our life going to be like? So that's the best part, the hope, and just the hope for the future.
Yeah, I love that. And I love when you said, you know, in the moments that we forget how to be husband and wife, we remember how to be friends. And you were talking about like your friendship and stuff. Like when you're in the thick of those moments, when you forget how to be husband and wife, which I think is like very enlightening. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of, sometimes you do forget, you're like, how does your friendship help like bring you back and help you remember how to be that husband and wife for each other?
For us, the biggest thing that has been instrumental in our marriage has been us working on ourselves as individuals. So we really look at ourselves as individuals before we look at ourselves like as a married couple, as anything together. We're individuals, and as individuals, we got to work on our spiritual, we got to work on our mental, we got to work on our physical. And if we're constantly doing those things and building up those things, it helps us when we get into those moments where we're like, now, wait a minute, you know, like you acting like this, I'm acting this way, whatever. But we always come back to a center. Like we have a good place where we're centered. So we always come back to that center place. And it's like, you know, when you acting up, like, you know what, I shouldn't have said that, you know, or I shouldn't have did that, or, you know, like, let's fix this. Like, let's just move on. Like, it's not worth it. Because I don't think we've ever, like, you know, how you, you don't ever really be getting into it about anything serious, you know. You be like, he come in the house and say, we having chicken again. And like, well, don't eat, you know.
Right.
And now we arguing about chicken. Like, that's so crazy. Like, we not doing this.
Yes.
It's not even worth it. So having that center to come back to the things that we know is really important, it's just like everything.
That is so true. It'd be like the pettiest stuff, which we talk on the show all the time about like petty arguments and stuff. And that is so true. I always tell Eric and tease him, I'm like, babe, like we don't have major drama, so we gotta find something to like, not that I want to argue because he's the one that likes to argue, but I'm like, you know, the devil's gonna try us for something, like whether it's you didn't wash the dishes or I'm being mean or something, like he's gonna try us because, you know, we gotta disagree about something. So
right,
it's usually something petty. You know, yeah, you'll have like serious stuff that comes up, but like you said, 9 times out of 10, it's really something probably petty and really has it's like so minor.
Right. Like I can't remember like any major like argument that we had in our marriage. So like that center place, like just saying like we're not arguing about chicken, we're not arguing about the chores. You know, like the stuff that you just get into it about, you know, just because you live with somebody, you know. Like I used to argue with my roommates, like who left their hair in the bathtub, you know. It's like things that just because you live in the same house with each other, you have to know like what's important and what's not important. Like, okay, let me just clean this up, you know, like, am I going to say something? Like, that's what I'm always like, am I going to say something or am I just going to clean up? You know?
Exactly.
And 9 times out of 10, today, I'm just going to clean it up. And sometimes I do say something, but I'm nice about it. Like, I've learned my husband's preferred way of me telling him his wrongs. So that's a good one. Like, knowing, like, you know, you just can't come at somebody. Like, you left your hair on the floor and blah, 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 and just go off about it. Like, hey, babe, you know?
Yep.
Could you please go sweep up the bathroom? And that's
you
it.
Are me, I am you. We see each other.
Yes. We know.
All of that. The way you put it, just put it a little delicately. And like you said, sometimes I'm going to say something, sometimes I'm just going to have to do it myself. So
yeah,
I feel that. Oftentimes we hear the term power couple. And, you know, we think of celebrities or rich people or famous people or whatnot. And for you all have kind of taken on a new meaning of what power couple means. And I love how you define it, but I wanted you to define it for those who may not know. Like, how do you and your husband define a power couple, and what does that look like in your marriage?
So we define power couple. First, let me add on power couple powered by God, the Most High God. So God is the center, you know? So we define being a power couple as two individuals working on themselves, mentally, spiritually, physically. So when they come together as one, they are a powerful force. So to us, that's a power couple. And when I talk about mentally, physically, spiritually, I feel like everything comes back to the spiritual part. Like, you have to know who you are in God and your potential and your ability in God. And when you know that, like, when you know that you're just powerful, when you know that you are the master of your own destiny, that can't nobody take anything away from you, and that everything that you want in this life is yours if you choose to get it. When you know that just as one person, as an individual, and then you link up with somebody else who knows the same thing, and they know that it comes from their spirit being, woo! Like, what can't you do? What can't you do? You know, all things are possible for us. So yes, that is a power couple. It has nothing to do with money. You know, everybody thinks that prosperity equals money. Like, no, like it's not. Money is cool. You know, money is nice, but there's people out here functioning who have everything that don't have any money. And I'm talking about, they got houses, they got cars, they have like all these things that they have manifested into their lives. And it's not because of a job or anything. Like, sometimes people, you know, when they're looking for their spouse or their mate, they're like, well, they need to have a job, they need to have this, they need to have that, they need to look like this or whatever. But you need to focus on that person's spiritual, because that's where it's going to take you and lead you to somewhere that is of abundance and of true prosperity. And, you know, money is cool, but you can see a lot of people who got money who's not really happy. They don't have any joy. They don't have any self-control. They don't have any faithfulness. Like, that's not what you want. So when I say a power couple, I am talking about those things that come from the inside, not the outside.
Bravo.
I just preached. I feel like I just preached.
Listen, bring a word. We love it. I love that. And like you said, prosperity goes beyond money and material things. You know what I have found is a part of prosperity is peace.
Yes.
Like, ain't nothing like having a peaceful home, whether you single or married, but also having a peaceful marriage. Like, my husband just told me the other day, he's like, our house is peace. Like, this is our sanctuary. Like, peace and prosperity for me go hand in hand, because like you said, there's so many people who have the money or the Birkin bags and the whatever, which is fine. You know, do you?
Yeah.
No shade on that. It's
Yeah.
nice. Yes, it's definitely nice. But at the end of the day,
like
it starts right. We love it. But it starts with what's on the inside, like you said, and that spiritual connection, like, because nothing can break that. When you have that, you have a solid foundation. So I love how you both define that. And like you said, power couple, powered by God, like, because that's where we get our power from, especially when the flesh is weak and you want to say something else, but the Lord's like, what does love do? How does love act? You're like, oh, dang, that's right. I can't act like that. Somebody said, amen, cuz. All right, look at your family in there. And somebody else said, peace is non-negotiable. Listen, it's
non-negotiable. You need your peace. You need your peace. What you gonna do without peace? You're gonna be somewhere acting out. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do without peace.
That's a word. Now, you and your husband wrote a book together called The Marriage Plan. And you admitted before that had you two made a plan before you got married, it would have saved you years of arguing and headache. What was one of the major things or experiences that you share with couples as it relates to like providing hope and like giving a marriage plan, like what couples can do to like create that marriage plan and vision?
Yeah, so we created the marriage plan because we realized that people just go into marriage without a plan at all. Like, they go in there high on the honeymoon, high on the happiness, high on the love, which is awesome. But then when things get a little bit rocky, they're like, you know what? This is over. And it's like, wait a minute, you know, like it can't just be over. So the marriage plan just basically helps you. It's just like a conversation starter, really. It helps you go through, like we mapped out like chores, you know, dating, children, sex. Like, it just helps you go through and answer questions like, if we get in this situation, what would we like ourselves to do? Like, let's have this conversation. So basically, say sex, for instance. Like, when you first get married, I don't know, like every couple, some people wait till they get married. Some people don't, you know, whatever. But say when you're new in marriage, you think, you know, like, our sex life is going to be great, you know, and it's great for like the first 3 months. And then you start getting tired at night. And then your man is like, well, wait a minute, you know, like, we used to have sex every day, or at least 4 or 5 times a week, you know, like, what's going on? And then you go drop down to 1 time a week. And then one person has a problem, and then the other person has a problem, because it's like, it's not like, you know, we're not doing it. We do it at least 1 time a week. And the other person is like, well, we used to do it 5 times. So talk about that. Like, it's important for your marriage to have that intimacy and connection. So talk about it. Don't just, my husband said, wait a minute, because that was our situation.
Right. He's like, all right, now he's done everything now. But that's honest. It's real. Like, we keep it real at Wise One now. Like, that's just honest, because that's reality. And it's I think it's also something that men have to like understand as well as reality, because we are raised completely different. Like, what men are told coming up about sex and sexuality and what women are told is like most times it's 2 different frames of thought. So it's like and our bodies are completely different. Like, let's start there. So I love that you're honest about that, and that like everyone's marriage is different. So some people might be swinging from the chandeliers. Some people just might be swinging around a makeshift pole. Like, it is what it is. Like,
right.
So, and you throw kids into it. You all have kids. Like, it's just different dynamics. So it's okay. There's some newlywed or some woman who's going to see this, and maybe she's not married, and she's now going to have a more realistic picture of it. It's not to say that everyone's marriage is like that, but it's just keeping it real about like, hey, these are the types of things you should plan for, and why the marriage plan helps you to think about those things. Because you're so right. A lot of people will plan the wedding. They will do everything to plan the wedding. And then the marriage is like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they'd be like, now what we doing? Yeah. You know? And it's so much, you know, it's like so much going on. Like, you're literally creating a life together. So you need to talk about everything. Like, some people, you know, like, they get upset because they're not dating enough. Well, talk about that, you know? Like, it's just important to have these conversations before you get married so you can be prepared. It's like the book is all about preparing you to go into a marriage, and just looking at all the things that you could potentially argue about. And instead of arguing about it, have a conversation about it. And it also has like a self-evaluation in there, which is like my favorite part. You know, like, let's look at you and yourself and see how you can focus on you and not focus on your spouse, you know, because we're all about building yourself up as an individual. So let's focus on you. How is your patience? How is your optimism? You know, are you good at listening? Are you good at expressing love? Like, just going through all of these things that we've experienced and kind of seen in marriages, and just mapping them out for other couples who maybe are new and don't know, you know, what they're headed into in marriage, so they can have a conversation about it. All the way down to chores, like, who's cleaning the toilet? Is it me or is it you?
I need to get a copy. Listen, I'm what 12 years in the game. I'm like, I might need to get a copy of his book. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Somebody said the marriage plan is amazing. Highly recommended. Yes, highly recommend. And look at your husband. He says success is always intentional. You need a plan and a vision. Absolutely.
Amen.
And Tiffany, hey girl, she said everybody needs a self-check. Absolutely. And I love that, like your book, especially that you two wrote it together. So it's not just, hey, women, you need to do this. No, it's like male, female, whatever. Like we come together, spouse and spouse, we need to work on, like you said, each other individually so that when we come together and so that when we do have those things pop up, you can at least have a plan. And even if it goes different from what you planned, you like, now what did we say on the marriage plan?
Right. We talked about this.
I like that. I'm gonna have to get me a copy, sis.
And I think it's important to point out too that the plan is just a beginning plan. It's just for you to talk about. It doesn't mean that the plan can't change, but it's more so you can just talk about it. Like, let's have these conversations, because, you know, like people get married, they don't even have a conversation about certain things. They just go into it happy, skipping, and that's beautiful. But when things don't start going your way, it's just good to go back and look at your plan that you made already, and, you know, think about those conversations that you had already.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. And I know you've been very honest about like the early years. And I found a quote where you said like the first few years, it was like y'all was having the same argument over the same things. And I want to talk about the first few years, especially when you mentioned about being adopted. And I know how I've had to like do some self-work with my own issues as it relates to abandonment and like not having my father in my life. And I know that's different. They're like similar, but totally different. But so share with us, like, did you find that you had experiences or you had to do like a lot of self-work as it relates to abandonment or maybe other issues that came out because of your experiences, or was it kind of seamless for you?
No, I did a lot of self-work when it came to just the things that I was feeling from being adopted. But that self-work started before I got married, even though I got married like really young. I believe I was like 24. But before I got married, like God brought me to a point, because, you know, like when you go through things, like you tend to, like when you date, like you're dating and you're trying to fulfill this love that you're missing. And I was like, come on, somebody, love me, love me, love me, love me. And these dudes were cheating. They was doing me wrong, honey. And I was like, you know what? Like, I have to get to the point where I can be by myself. I was like, God, I don't even want no man, you know? Like, don't bring none of these big-headed dudes back my way. I am tired of them, you know? So that's where I was at before I got married. So when I met Lucas, like, I was already going through the process of the self-work. I told him, I was like, look, it's me and God right now. Like, it is me and God right now. If you want to talk to me, I'm letting you know that this is what I got going on. It's not all roses over here. I've been cheated on. I don't trust y'all dudes. You know, I was like, this is where I am. So that process had already started. And he was already going through his own process. You know, like he had his own stuff that he was coming out of too. So it was him and God as well. So it's funny, like we always talk about it. Like he was like, we had this like battle. He was like, I'm a good dude, you know, like you need to, you know, recognize what you got here. And I was like, I'm a good woman. And God told me that he was going to give me a good man. So if it ain't you, it's somebody. So don't be telling me that you a good dude. Tell him, sis. So we went through that whole thing. But yeah, like that self work that I had to do. And it, you know, it continues, you know, like I feel like in the first few years of our marriage, when we were having the same argument over and over, it was us misunderstanding each other. It was us holding our ground for what we thought we wanted was right for ourselves, and not looking at, okay, so how can I give my husband what he wants, and him looking at me and saying, how can I give my wife? He said I hit the jackpot. Yeah. I hit the jackpot too, babe. But
I love it.
How can I give my wife what she wants? So we were just like battling this battle of self, trying to hold on to our own will instead of submitting to each other. And so we had to come to that point. So that whole thing, that submitting part came long and hard for me. Like, I was like, now what does it look like to submit? You know, every time somebody said that, I was like, but what do you mean? Like, do I not say anything? Like, I can't just not say anything, you know? Like, so that came long and hard. But when I finally understood it and that we were both supposed to be submitting to each other, it was easy. Like,
thank you.
You know, like it was like a competition of who can love each other the most. And I was down for that. Like, let's do it. Like, I can love you all day. Like, especially when he's loving on me too. So yeah, that part of it is just beautiful. But we were holding on to our own wills for the longest.
Listen, you said I'm like, there's so many beautiful gems and all of that. First, about like the self-work and starting before you got married, like that for me was, I think, like the pivotal change in my life and like what really prepared me for what was next. Because I was like, I'm like, you need to get your life together. Like, if this is what you said you said you a good guy. Like, yes, you better tell him, no, I'm a good woman. Like, and I'm gonna find a good man, whether it's you or someone else. Like, I love that you stood in your truth and that you stood in like your self-confidence and your self-worth. Like, that is so important, because like a lot of times I think some of us, especially in my former life, it's like we think that marriage somehow is going to like make us whole. And it's like, you got to be right with yourself before, like the more work you can do. Like you said, it doesn't stop, but the more work you can do beforehand, the better off it'll be. And then when you talked about holding on to your own will versus submitting to each other, I think that is so true for so many couples. Like, you're going to help somebody tonight, sis. Like, that is so honest. Yes. Like, and everybody always talks about the women submitting. And I'm like, does everybody forget about the verse right before that says, submit ye to one another? Like, I don't know why the debate continues on and on for decades. And I'm like, are y'all reading the same Bible? Because right before that, it says, submit ye to one another. So I'm confused. Like,
right, talk about it.
I'm glad that you talked about that and that you found that it's so much easier when you guys submit to each other. Like, someone put it one day about like serving each other. Like, that's what marriage is about. Like, how can I serve you today? Like, somebody said they block it out. They do. It's like it was never there. People be like, what you feel about submission? I'm like, I mean, I'm fine. Like, what you want me to tell?
Right.
Oh, I love that. There's a wonderful quote that you have on your page where you say, every act of faith, even the size of a mustard seed, puts a smile on God's face. And that is just so encouraging, especially as a woman, as a Black woman, as well as in marriage. Have you ever had a moment where, even as a woman individual, or even in your marriage, where you felt like you was lacking that faith, or maybe like one of you all struggled, like somebody had that mustard seed faith and somebody else had that like the big gigantic faith, and then like how did you all come together, or even in your own personal journey?
I feel like you know how when you and your spouse just have like different personalities. Like my husband, and he'll admit this, I'm the one that usually has like the big faith. I'm like, babe, we can do anything, you know, like let's go for it. And he's, you know, since he's the provider, he's counting the cash. He's like, now wait a minute, you know, you always trying to do something, you know, we gotta look at our bank account and what am I gonna have to do to make that happen? And like, so every time I bring something up, he's like, it's like, can we get this one done first? I'm like, babe, I just want to talk about it. Like, I'm not asking you to get the coins out. Like, I just want to talk about it, because everything is possible. You know, everything is possible. Nothing's impossible. That's what my Lord and Savior told me. So, so I'm the one with the big faith, and I'm the one that's always, you know, coming up with some big idea. And maybe pushing him, and, you know, then he'll get on board too. You know, he'll be like, you're right, babe. You know, let's make it happen. Let's see what we can do. And I just love it. Yeah.
I love that. And it just speaks to the balance, you know, it's like, you just got to have that balance, because somebody might be more quiet, or, you know, when I'm strong, you're weak. When he's weak, I'm strong. You know, it's just like having that balance is just so important. Before we get into the rapid round and the fast questions, I just wanted to share this, what I'm calling a marriage prayer that I saw on your page that you shared. It was your words, but you basically said, I'm praying for marriages, particularly weary couples. I pray for strength, peace, comfort, resolution, and revelation for both husband and wife as they fight through. I pray that they would seek to understand the person that they're fighting for, and most importantly, the purpose they are fighting for. In Jesus' name, amen. And I just thought that was such a beautiful and timely prayer. I can't even remember when you posted it, but I think it's definitely a timely prayer for even now in this quarantine, because some couples didn't make it. Let's just be honest. We 2 weeks out, and there were a lot of D words that happened this year. Also divorces, but so I just thought that prayer was just so timely and just wonderful. And I just wanted to at least share that, because somebody might need that right now. They might be married a year, 6 months, or it may be year 10, 12 for them. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know what's happening. But I think that prayer just speaks to all of that. And I love that you shared it. Did anything inspire that when you shared it, if you even remember?
I remember the prayer, that post. I don't remember what inspired it, but yeah, like you said, we've seen some D words happen, you know, during this quarantine and things like that too. And I think that people, I think that the most important thing that people just have to do is work on their spirit, you know, like building that up. And sometimes once you do that, you can come back and be stronger in your marriage, or just be a better person, you know, for your spouse, or however it goes. But yeah, like sometimes it just, you know, like I just want to see couples win, you know, like marriage is so beautiful, and it's so great, you know, like it's good for communities, it's good for generations, you know, like I talk about breaking generational curses. It's like the things that you can do together, you know, the life that you can build together. And I always tell people, like, when they're going, you know, when we're helping couples or whatever, and they're like going at it about anything, I'm like, why are you fighting each other? You know, like what are you battling for? Like, some people, couples get into, like we were talking about earlier, over the most petty things, you know. They're like, well, no, I'm not letting this person control me, you know, whatever. And it's like it's over nothingness, you know, and it'll keep building up, and then it'll end up corroding, and then you'll end up like breaking up or getting a divorce. For, like, if you boil down to it, it's like, it's because you didn't want to do something that your spouse wanted you to do. Like, you didn't submit to each other. It's that battle of the will. So it's like, if you say you have children together, you know, like, you have to raise these babies to be strong and powerful, and to know that they can do anything in life. But instead, they over here watching y'all fight, you know. Wow. So if you want to do these things, like, think about, like, why are you battling each other? There's enough going on out in this world, you know. People out here battling everything. You can't even go to Walmart without have to fight with somebody about a parking spot, you know. But you want to go home and fight with your spouse, the person that you're building something with, you're building a life with, you're a future with, that you're making a heritage with. Like, you don't got time for that. Like, y'all got too much to do. Like, stop warring with each other, and let's get on the same page. Like, let's make this happen. Let's make this beautiful. Like, let's show our kids that they have something to aspire to, because many times your kids grow up to do and be like you, because that's what they see. So give them something, build your heritage. You know, people talk about leaving a legacy behind. Make it powerful. You have the ability to do that. You know, abundance and prosperity is in you. Like, let's do it. let's do it. Like, stop warring with each other over petty stuff. Like, we don't have time for that.
You better speak life. Yes, let's do it. I'm like you. I just love to see marriages win, and it's like I don't want people to give up. Like, I mean, obviously there's things that, you know, not like the excessive and like abusive and just all types of wrong stuff, but I'm like you. I want to see marriages win. I want to see people healthy and happy, and that's why we have this. And like, you just speaking life tonight. Like, I'm here for all of it. Yes.
Amen.
So let's transition to what I like to call the rapid fire round, where I just have a few fun, interesting questions, and the ladies always kind of respond as well, and gentlemen, since we know your hubby's checking in, and it might be a few other fellas. But I like to ask a few little questions just to get to know you more. And some of them, you know, just little fun questions about you and your hubby. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I love this part of the show.
Yeah. Thanks, girl. I do too. Who's better with giving Christmas gifts, you or him?
To be honest, we don't really give each other gifts.
And that's honest.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I would imagine it might be a little different with kids as well. Like, it's so much focus on the kids. It's like, we good.
Right. Yeah. We don't really do like the gift exchange. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm seeing the ladies
got his hand up. He said he's better. He got his hand up.
Oh, look, you already trying to be PC. He's like, me. Oh, okay. Is that what you're doing tonight? Okay. Well, we coming for you, Lucas. Which TV wife most describes you? Claire Huxtable, the original Vivian from The Fresh Prince, Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris, or Rainbow from Blackish?
Okay. So I got one from your list, but I also got another one.
Oh, okay.
So Aunt Viv, the original. It's funny that you call her the original because we all know that the second Aunt Viv, I love her, but
right, we love you,
character.
Reed, but
right.
Yeah. And after seeing that Fresh Prince reunion, I was like, oh my God, y'all do that so dirty.
Right. But I love the first Miss Viv. She had her stuff together. She was polished. She was smart. She was classy. And she know how to get you told, too, whenever she needed to. So I aspire to be like the first Aunt Viv. But I also, the one that I don't have on your list is My Wife and Kids, Jay, Tisha Campbell. Have you watched that show?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen probably every single episode. You're right.
Love it. Yes. But I'm most like her. You know how she was like really competitive? Like she was competitive with her kids. She was competitive with her husband. That's me.
And she was a ball of energy. Like, you just gotta love Tisha Campbell. Like, she's a mess. I love her. That's a good one. Thanks for that, sis. I might have to add that to the list.
Yeah, I like her.
Who's more the morning person, you or him?
Oh, me all day long. I can get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'm just laying in bed and I'm like laughing at your face. Sometimes I'm just laying in bed like, should I get up? You know, if I get up, I'm going to wake everybody up. My husband, he got like 6 alarms just at one time. So, me.
Yeah. Y'all can have the mornings. Who's more likely to want to cuddle, you or him?
Him, definitely. He's a cuddler. And I like to cuddle with him too. But it took me a while to like get around with that. I think like that was like one of the things I had to work on from growing up in foster care. Like I wasn't always, you know, like getting a lot of love and hugs and kisses and stuff like that. So my husband was like always trying to hug up on me. You know, I was that girl. It's like, why you always got to be hugging me? Aww. But now I'm like, babe, can I get a?
I've heard that before too. Toilet paper. This is always the controversial one, as you might know. Toilet paper over or under?
Listen, the way things go in my house, if there's toilet paper on the roll, I'm happy. Because people will use the last little bit of toilet paper and just put the roll on the sink. I'm like, why is it so hard to put the toilet paper on the roll? So if it's on the roll, I'm happy. I don't care if it's over, under. Listen, just put it on the roll. Can we work on that?
Yep. I see you, princess, with your under. There you go again. I love you, though. Quiet storm said over. Okay. Somebody said, I don't care. I just need it on the roll. Well, that's fine. You're right. Date night pre-COVID, night out on the town or Netflix and chill?
Night out on the town. I'm the kind of girl that I like to get dressed up. I like to take pictures. I like to do the most sometimes. Yeah. So night out on the town, take me out. Give me a reason to dress up.
Amen. Who talks more, you or him?
Listen, this is not even a question. He does. I'm like the person. I'm like the person of solitude, you know, like I can be quiet for 24 hours straight, you know, and if I'm not quiet for 24 hours straight, I need at least like 5 hours of just me time. Like, but my husband, he's a talker. He likes to talk. He loves
got
people.
All the hands raised.
Yeah. He'll go to the grocery store. He's that guy at the grocery store asking, you know, talking to everybody. And I'm standing there with my cart like, babe, can we go? Can we go?
I love it.
Yes.
Because I know y'all rep for the Cleveland. Still a LeBron James fan or no?
Always a LeBron James fan. He is doing his thing. So how can anybody handle LeBron? I know people do it, but listen. He's out here doing it big. He's using his talent and he's making a difference. His community building schools and stuff. So go ahead, LeBron.
Okay, I love it.
And he's a nice family man too, as far as I know. I don't know him personally, so I don't know what he's really doing, but
Amen. Who takes longer to get ready, you or him? I feel like it's you.
Definitely me. Yeah. He's the kind of guy, he like to acting like he's been waiting forever. Like, babe, stop it. I'm on time, but I need, like, just let me know what time we're leaving so I can take my time to get ready. Exactly. Don't just be springing stuff up on me like, you want to go do this right now?
Which do you prefer, a sunny tropical getaway or a cold cabin getaway?
I have never been on a cold cabin getaway because I live in Ohio. It's snowing right now. But I would kind of like to do a cold cabin getaway, like in the mountains somewhere, you know, with like a hot tub or like, you know, you see all this exotic stuff like Iceland and stuff. Like, I want to go to Iceland. Iceland looks so beautiful. So I do want to do that. But the way this Ohio weather is, I'd be escaping to the sunny and tropical.
Yes. Yep. Princess said the same thing. Sunny, tropical. I have been invited to a lot of couples cold cabin getaways, and I'll be honest, I've turned down pretty much all of them.
Oh, really? You haven't done not one of them?
I'm very particular. Like, in the cabin, I'm kind of a hotel snob. I'm not usually a snob, but when it comes to hotels, I'm very much a snob. So if we're going to stay at a cabin, it has to be like very modern. I don't like all that. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Sorry, judge me or not, but
you like what you like.
Yeah, I like what I like. Who's more likely to leave a pile of clothes around?
Him. I am the neat freak, almost to an extreme. Like I said earlier, like I will clean the whole house, you know, just for fun. Like I clean for fun. And he's, you know, has his organized his organized mess. Like he knows where all his stuff is, but it's not folded. I'll just say that.
And shout out to my fellow hotel snob, Lakia. I see you in the comments. Thank you. Let's see. Last one. Home cooked meal or takeout? And who's the cook at the house?
I'm the cook in the house, so definitely takeout. However, I would really like a chef to cook my home cooked meals. So if I can make that happen, home cooked meals. I would tell you what happened to me today too. And this is funny, and I love my family, but I made them a nice little meal tonight, and they were like, that food was so good. That food was so good. Then I went out there to like pour my glass of wine because I knew I was going to be on here. And
Yeah.
I looked in the pan and there was no food left and I didn't even get a chance to eat. I like, see?
Lucas, that is unacceptable.
It was like, I thought you ate. You always ate. And which is true. Like, I usually eat first because I know the guys in this house, they eat, you know. They're big guys and they're tall. They're athletic. And, you know, that combination, you got to get your calories in when you're always running and moving and lifting. So, but, you know, like today, I was coming on here. I was preparing, so I didn't eat. And I got caught slipping. You know, I didn't get no food. Lucas, he was like, babe, what do you want me to go get you? So that's nice.
I was about to say, I said, I hope he's on that Uber Eats right now, ordering some food, but he was already on it. Okay. All right, Lucas, you came through. You redeemed yourself. Good job. Well, sis, you have been incredible tonight. I'm just so thankful for your story, and even just starting off with and being so honest and transparent about your journey through adoption and everything. Like, that was just fantastic from the jump and just totally unexpected. But I'm so thankful that you shared that, because I know somebody's going to be helped because of it and empowered. So thank you for all of the gems that you shared and just like everything, because it's just so insightful, especially about your transition from being single to married. Like, I love that. And before we go, I want you to share with the people. Somebody said, amazing job, Corine Marie. You are beautiful. Love you.
Aww. Thanks. Love you too, Larican.
Yes. And then Gentle Warrior Spirit said, that's awesome. Great job, Kingdom folks. Amen. But before we go, please tell the people how they can follow you or your websites and stuff or any projects, as well as grab your glass and let us know what you're toasting to.
So just go to my Instagram. Everything is on there. What I have coming up. Like right now, I'm at a point in my life where I'm just kind of on pause with everything because I'm going to a new height and a new level. Yeah. So, you know, when you're leveling up, you guys kind of reevaluate things, do some things differently. So I'm on the up right now, but you guys just please follow me. I will have lots of great things going on. And that's what I'm toasting to, the future, the great things, the leveling up, the enlightenment. So yes, toast, cheers.
Yes, ching, ching, ching.
And thank you so much for having me. It was so good talking to you for the first time.
You got to take your drink and eye contact. Don't break the toast. There you go. And I see y'all in the comments with your wine glasses. Y'all know what time it is. And girl, yes, you are most welcome. I actually want to do a toast as well. I want to toast to we out here. I want to say we out here. We out here breaking generational curses. I toast to that. Cling, 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 cling. I got that. Yes. And cheers to y'all in the comments. Again, thank you all so much, Corine. You are fantabulous. You are just as beautiful as your beautiful name.
Thank you.
Shout out to everyone who tuned in tonight. If you missed it and you came in and missed part of it, the episode will be available. The replay will be available on my IGTV. You can catch this episode as well as previous episodes. We will not be here next week because it's Christmas. I want you all to enjoy your time with your family. But we will have one more for 2020 before we wrap up the year the week after next. So it's going to be a great one too because it's going to help us get prepared for 2021 and some goals we need to like make happen. I know specifically for myself. But so yeah, make sure you tune in. And if you're just joining tonight, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this atmosphere. I love this show. This is great. I wish we could do this again. Well, guess what? I'm here, although I won't be here next week. I'm here every Wednesday, just about. Yes. And you are welcome to join us. And again, if you miss any episodes, you can always catch the replays on my IGTV. I appreciate all of you all. I wish you a happy, Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all of that stuff. Find time, even though you might not be with family, find a way to connect with each other, especially if you're alone. Like, you know, do a virtual Zoom or do a FaceTime and connect. I will not see my mom this year, but we're going to FaceTime again. And at Thanksgiving, our families weren't together, but we did a 3-hour virtual Zoom and we played games. So find a way to connect with people and so that you're not alone. And even if you are feeling alone, like find a way to connect with your friends and your family and just love on each other, because technology can allow us to do that, and do it safely, please, so we don't catch COVID. So yes, thank you, Corine, and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Love you, sis.
Yes, love you too. Bye.